We all know there is no shortages of inequality in the world, in a wide range of scales and in different ways. Inequality is bad for everyone, and bringing people together is the most important step to increase well-being, allowing populations to flourish. In the hopes of combating this, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development urgently calls for action by all countries, developed and developing, in a global partnership. However, each country has a different role to play in reaching these goals due to differing development stages and impacts. Let's take a look at Goal 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. This goal involves ensuring sustainable consumption and production patterns. Urgent action is needed because our current global material needs are leading to the over-extraction of resources or the degradation of environmental resources, whilst production processes release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. There is also associated issues with land use change, production waste, transport, and energy use. This has contributed to us overshooting the planetary boundaries and disrupting the Earth's natural processes, crossing the environmental limits within which humanity can safely operate. With worldwide material consumption expanding rapidly, this becomes increasingly concerning. Simultaneously, people are falling short on the essentials of life. This inequality is apparent in the differing impact and social outcomes between countries. Let's take a look at Australia and India. India is barely crossing any planetary boundaries but is falling far short on meeting people's needs, whilst Australia's resource consumption is greatly overshooting Earth's boundaries and in the process undermining prospects for all other countries. Here we can see the stark difference, with Australia's per capita material consumption almost 7 times larger than India's. This is absolutely crazy when you consider the population difference and the disproportionate impact we have on the Earth's planetary boundaries. Globally, we are exceeding the maximum impact that can be maintained, with social ecological processes sustainable but at risk. Countries like Australia have consumption patterns that exceed the carrying capacity, whilst countries like India are below IMIN, where social processes are unsustainable, with communities unable to maintain a dignified existence. So diagram A illustrates again the inequality spectrum, with Australia at the upper limit and India below. Scenario B illustrates if everyone copied the degenerative industrial part of Australia, it would most likely result in the collapse of Earth's life-supporting systems. Graph C represents the ideal scenario, how it is necessary for us to both converge in the middle, the safe and equitable operating zone, where social ecological processes are sustainable for all. So this environmental impact is calculated from population size times affluent consumption, that is, that exceeds minimum requirements, and base consumption minimum required to maintain a dignified existence, multiplied by technology impact factor. So the lower limit to global consumption can be achieved by setting the A of countries like Australia to 0 and increasing countries like India to base consumption levels. But how do we do this? So one strategy to combat this is efficiency, which involves improving all parts of production to lower material and energy inputs per unit of production. This then uses less resources and therefore a smaller impact. People are able to continue the same consumption patterns but will consume less resources. This creates a consumption rebound, however, which has the opposite effect. Efficiency tends to lower the price of commodities, and so demand actually increases, negating any positive effects that resulted from the efficiency in the first place. Another strategy is sufficiency. This involves not consuming things unnecessarily, such as doing without the cup of coffee in the morning and not taking the car. People will have to alter behavior to limit consumption, with purchasing power remaining unused or itself reduced through working and earning less. This frugality, however, also faces similar issues with efficiency, in that drop in demand of commodities initially lowers prices, which in turn increases demand, so that some of what was saved through non-consumption is consumed after all, merely just by others. Affluent communities in the developed world have the greatest capacity to act and have a greater per capita responsibility. It is all about our attitude and beliefs, and people will need to reconfigure what they perceive their self-interest to be. Ultimately, maintaining sustainable consumption and production must be just and fair, allowing opportunities for those to rise above the dignity floor. Those that are above the profligacy ceiling need to make ecological space, so those below can experience more of what we call economic growth to thrive. Maybe we should challenge the dominant model of progress and the idea of permanent economic growth, questioning the mounting societal, environmental, and moral costs of consumerism. Analysis of current economic and environmental trends demonstrate undeniably that such an economy is not compatible with sustainability, as indefinite growth is not possible on a finite planet. We need a shift from consumptive, life-threatening growth to improve well-being and real quality of life, to ensure an environmentally and socially sustainable future. Global convergence is the step needed in order to live a healthy, happy, and sustainable life for all.